Welcome to our preview of the Euro 2016 tournament happening in France. So in our first video, we looked at groups A and B that had France and England as the star teams. We'll look at group C and D, and Benjamin Nketsia joins me once again. Ben, nice to have you back. In Group C, we've got Germany, Northern Ireland, Ukraine and Poland. Now, Ukraine and Poland co-hosted the last edition. This time, they are opponents in that group, which has Germany as potentially the star team.
I mean, that automatically puts Northern Ireland as the whipping boys in the group. But then you want to look at Germany, and they've looked a very weird team in recent times. I mean, Jogi Löw has always proved that he is willing to give informed players an opportunity in his setup, and I think that that's what we are going to see this time around. I think that experienced or veteran midfielders like Bastian Schweinsteiger will play more of a leadership role in the tournament this time around, with new entrants like Weigl of Dortmund coming in, playing an introductory role. We might just see him, we might not, but I think that he's done enough to warrant a place in this team setup. Mesut Ozil, coming off a very, very good season with club side Arsenal, voted as club's player of the season. He should be brimming with confidence, and I think that for the first time, I would want to see him take charge of his national team. I mean, they can boast players like Thomas Muller, who was up there with the top scorers in the competition. So Diamond Shaft, of course, everybody will be expecting them to be in the finals at least. Anything short of a final berth will be considered a disappointment. Then you can also look at rivals of theirs like Poland. The Polish have been amazing in the qualifiers. They've been great as well with regards to playing big tournaments of this nature. Lewandowski, he was the top scorer in the qualifiers, yes, and he provided 4 assists to go with this as well. So you can tell that he's a very, very rounded player. But I particularly want to talk about Lukas Piszczek. Lukas Piszczek has gone under the radar for so long. I don't know if you remember the opening game of the tournament that was held in Poland. He supplied the assist to Lewandowski for the opening goal of the tournament. He is such an accurate crosser of the ball. He will be one of those guys that I think will be key to how this side runs. He might not necessarily be the reason why this side ticks, but he is part of the reasons why the side ticks.
Will there be a threat to Germany, knowing that some of these players play in Germany and have a very good idea of how the German team functions?
I mean, like you mentioned, the Germans and the Polish are very similar in their manner of doing things. I mean, it goes back in history. So they've adapted similar football philosophies, and they are very identical in their manner of play as well. I just think that they have enough quality to be able to hold their own to get out of this group. As to if they will pose Germany problems in that particular encounter, I mean, it's a game I am looking forward to. But don't forget about Ukraine. I mean, they boast really good players as well.
What's for the most informed wingers, Konoplyanka and Kamulenko?
Exactly, and Yamolenko, I mean, we always thought he would move out of Ukraine by now, but he spent a lot of time in his comfort zone. One thing that has dominated the news for the Ukrainian side coming into the Euros is the fact that their team or their players haven't played as many games as the other team because their calendar is slightly different. So their players are a bit more rested than the other teams coming into this one. So that should play a key factor for me. Konoplyanka actually has not had as much of an influence in club football. That's with his club side Sevilla as I thought he would. I felt that he was good enough to be a leader of a team, but these guys always find a way to get it going when they play for the national side. So they will be certainly the two pillars to keep it going for the Ukrainian side. Dario Srna, he doesn't go away. He is in there once again for the team. Experience in tons. I think that he will have a big say on what happens with Ukraine in this tournament. Honestly speaking, if I'm to pick two sides to go through in this group, I'll have a really hard time of it. I think that this might not strike you as one of the groups of death, but it actually is on the premise of the backgrounds of the teams with regards to each other, and also the similarities in the style of play of all the teams in the group.
Maybe we could even have that group providing us with one of the 4 third best placed teams to make it to the second round. Now we look at Group D, and Ben, it's a very fascinating group. There's Spain in there, there's the Czech Republic, there's Turkey, and there's Croatia. Lovely selection of teams, great technique. Now you've got to figure out which 2 teams will make it out of that group.
Interesting. I look at the group at first glance and I say that the Czech Republic and Spain should represent the teams that will make it out of the group. But you look at Turkey again. I mean, one side I find very peculiar. They play just about the best football in Europe, if you ask me, in terms of aesthetic value with football. Arda Turan, lovely player. He has also had problems in Barcelona this season ever since he made that switch, but you get the sense that he will be key to how the Turks perform in the competition. You want to look at Spain, and Spain have everything to prove, because once again they won the World Cup, went to Brazil, and everybody was expecting them to put up stalwart defense. It never happened. I mean, their campaign never got going to start with. Now they come into this competition again as defending champions, and you think that there is a mounting of pressure on the Spaniards.
Just a quick thought on Spain. Now we've seen their selection. There's Nolito in there. There's Pedro, and lots of people are beginning to wonder if they have the quality, especially up front, to get them goals. Cesc Fabregas can score, but do they have an out-and-out threat when it comes to goal scoring?
Well, I look at Paco Alcácer. He was their top scorer in the qualifying.
He's brought in Aritz Aduriz as well.
In their qualifying, Aritz Aduriz, of course, experienced head, and I think that experience matters in such competitions a lot. And you need a cool head like Aduriz to be able to do it. As for Nolito and Pedro, I mean, we know that Pedro is a player for the big occasion. Never mind that he's had a patched or a sketchy season with his club side Chelsea, but I think that he can pop up and score goals. Nolito can create goals. I've seen him do wonderful things against big sides. So, I mean, I don't doubt the credibility of the Spanish team on any day. Can they do it as a group, and can they play direct football? I've found them a bit boring with regards to how they've played in the qualifying rounds and in previous competitions. I think that teams have sat down and teams have learned how to break down a team like the Spanish side, who take delight in passing the ball around and keeping possession. So they will have to find ways to vary their style of play when they go up against teams that have measured and have found ways to counter their patient possession style of football. Czech Republic, they come in with players who have tons of experience, and immediately Tomáš Rosický makes it. Exactly, Peter Cech is back. Yaroslav. Nathan, I cannot begin to go into history or go back in history with regards to how many competitions these guys have played together. Jiracek, the midfielder, do not forget about Jiracek, absolutely fantastic player, will be a key figure in the Czech Republic side. They were one of the teams that scored a lot of goals coming into this one, so you get the sense that the Czechs are up to it again. They are sort of becoming a forgotten force in European football, and I think that this will be an opportunity for them to reignite their flame and just remind everybody that really they aren't out the woods yet. So Czech Republic, Spain, for me, my money should be on these.
You're leaving out Turkey.
Yeah,
you don't think Turkey will make it?
I think that Turkey will impress. I think they will score goals. I think that they will excite everybody at the competition, but they've always lacked mettle to make it. I mean, they had to go through a playoff to make it to the competition in the first place. Just gives you
on the Croats. Now they come in with a lovely side, and they've got Petric and Rakitic of Barcelona, Luka Modric, conductor supreme for Real Madrid. How are they going to fare in this tournament?
Well, the truth is, if they are able to navigate their first game of the competition, they will give themselves a big chance of making it through. They are my wild card to go really far in this competition. It all depends on how the competition starts for them, really. I mean, I sort of have an asterisk on Czech Republic. They're not sure money to make it out. I still think that Croatia have an outside chance. You mentioned Luka Modric, who I think personally is the best central midfielder in the world as things stand now. A lot of people might stand to debate me, but that's what I think. Ivan Perisic, he was one of the top scorers, or he was their top scorer in the qualifying rounds as well. He's proven that he can do it on various levels. Ivan Rakitic, Alen Halilovic, one of the wonder kids to possibly look out for, yes, in the competition. So with regards to quality, I think that the Croats will have quality in droves. They might not measure with regards to the names of the teams other sides we're bringing into the competition, but we know what these guys can do. Technically, they are up there with the best in the world, and I feel that if things go for them like it did in the qualifying stages, I think that they should be in to surprise a lot of teams in this competition.
So we'll see. So that's a look at Group C and the fantastic collection of teams. So Germany starring in Group C, Spain starring in Group D, but they've got exquisite company in the Czechs and the Croats, who can provide some type of competition. So that's our preview for Group C and D. Join us for our next preview as we look at Groups E and F and close out our look ahead of the European Championships 2016, which starts in France on June the 10th.
This one's for you.